Guys, we are 50,000 subscribers, and for this special occasion, I'm doing another Q&A today. I'll answer your questions. Since I'm in the city of love today, I'll answer some spicy personal questions about my dating life, YouTube earnings, and upcoming travel plans. Stick around until the end. Exactly. So guys, follow me here through Paris. And for this Q&A, I got the questions from you on Instagram, so feel free to check out my Instagram. And today, I'm going to answer all of these questions. Let's begin. The obvious question to start this video is, why am I here in Paris? Yeah, guys, I'm studying here for a few more months. I'm doing my semester abroad at École Supérieure des Sciences Économiques et Commerciales Business School, and that's why I'm here in Paris. Actually, it's my last semester. After that, it's just the master's thesis. That means I'll be done with my studies soon. I'm studying economics for my master's. And yeah, I'm improving my French so that my French will soon be as good as my Russian, although my Russian isn't particularly good yet either, but definitely better than my French. Since we're discussing going abroad, I'll address your questions about travel and being abroad. I have to admit, I've often considered emigrating, not to criticize Germany, as it has always had both strengths and weaknesses. The weather has never been great, but we've always had a safe and strong economy. But yeah, you just have to admit, even the economy is slowly going downhill a bit and safety is decreasing. And of course you start to wonder, is Germany the country where you see yourself in the long run? I have 4 families in Portugal who emigrated a few decades ago, and that's always an option I keep in mind. But yeah, who knows, maybe I'll stay in Germany, but if I do, then more likely in southern Germany. That's where I feel most comfortable. But I would say Portugal is at the top of the list. Many people ask if I would emigrate to Russia, but it's more a place I'd visit in the summer for a few months. St. Petersburg still fascinates and attracts me. But in the long term, it's hard for me to imagine that, maybe for half a year, but I can definitely imagine going there again and again. Even here in Paris, I think I could more easily imagine living than in Germany at the moment. My favorite countries in the Soviet project so far have been Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Russia, I would say. Georgia is very diverse. Mountains, sea, cities, food. Georgia has everything in a very small area. Kazakhstan just positively surprised me, and Russia is Russia. Historically very fascinating, culturally very fascinating. I felt least brave in Georgia. I may have called it the most beautiful country, but it was also the most dangerous for me. Because when you're sitting on the bus there, the drivers, they're reckless, insane. The way they drive, every time they overtake, you think, well, this could be it now. I actually felt safe in every country, but in Georgia, driving is just relatively dangerous. So the people are very nice, it's not dangerous, but yeah, the traffic, it's crazy. So I'll go with Georgia for that as well. They also asked me if a trip to Ukraine is planned, and I can reassure you. Guys, a trip to Ukraine is definitely planned, hopefully even this year. So I actually firmly intend to travel to Ukraine in the middle or end of the year. To show you the situation on the ground, in the center of Ukraine, maybe even in the east of Ukraine, is of course dangerous. But I'm someone who has a relatively high risk profile, I would say. And yes, many people have criticized that in the comments. I think you make so many videos from Russia, you show us a lot on the ground, but nothing comes from Ukraine.
Ich verstehe das schon. Das ist schon.
It's a bit one-sided when you report so much from Russia, but not Ukraine. And that's why it definitely should happen in 2025. Other travel destinations, personally for me, would be something like South America, especially Brazil. Somehow I've been fascinated by Brazil since my childhood. I somehow associate something with Brazil. Yeah, it's a zest for life I'd love to feel. That's for private trips. Maybe Asia again, which would be great. I'm sure I'll visit Kyrgyzstan again too. I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, but one day. There are still a few places I want to see. Osh, the second largest city, and then there's a closed city near Osh that I'd really like to film. There are a few places I skipped last time, so maybe I'll go there again. Yeah, also Central Asia in general. I still need to visit Turkmenistan and Tajikistan for the Soviet project. I even have viewers there, so traveling now would be even more exciting. So yeah, guys, that's definitely all planned. There were also a few questions about languages. So when it comes to South Sea languages, I can speak at a pretty decent small talk level. I can have a conversation with some French people and I actually understand pretty well. Although when the French really get going and speak quickly, I end up understanding very little again. And Russian, well, maybe you got an impression from the videos. I was asked what exact language level I have, B1. Yeah, probably somewhere between B1 and B2. Yeah. It depends on how much time I have to acclimate. So if I'm in the country for 2 weeks, I can speak pretty well. Now, for example, I haven't been in a Russian-speaking country for probably 3 months, and I'm also not actively learning Russian anymore, just passively, through social media or things like that. That means you naturally get a bit rusty. I've introduced you to 9 countries on my channel, so to speak, and I've been to a total of 40 countries. Yeah, I'll show you the map here. That's roughly what it looks like, so here in Asia, and of course in Europe. I haven't been to the United States of America or South America yet. That's the only continent I haven't visited. So yeah, those were the countries. Feel free to check it out if you're interested. I began visiting Eastern Europe because of this channel. Before that, I'd never been there. I wanted to combine things and see something new, especially Eastern Europe. I speak some Russian, which is how the channel started. Yeah. Last year, I traveled to 10 Eastern European countries. Another question that came up was, isn't it exhausting to travel so much all the time? It's exhausting, especially when staying in wild places and traveling on a low budget. But for example, I was in Kazakhstan, in South America, in a room without windows. The mattress was the entire room, so there wasn't a single square meter of space. But even here in Paris, it's exhausting. I keep filming videos, I study, and yes, even here the accommodation is pretty wild. An ATC in bed for a man over 2 meters tall isn't ideal either. That's why, when I'm at home, a good night's sleep is extremely important to me. And that's where the mattress from Emma helps me. Emma kindly sent me a mattress, the Emma Elite. I highly recommend the AirGrid Comfort mattress. It's not too soft or too hard, and a good night's sleep is especially important to me in winter. And the AirGrid material is also very breathable and provides optimal pressure relief. But at Emma, it's not just mattresses. They have everything related to sleep. That means pillows, blankets, premium toppers. There's something for everyone, so check it out. The winter sale runs until February 4th. That means a lot of products are up to 50% off, for example, the AirGrid mattress, but also many premium toppers, so check it out. And with the code FINSFairyTale, you get an additional 5% off the already discounted products. The whole thing is completely risk-free for you. You can try it out for 100 nights, and shipping is free. Return shipping is free, so there's absolutely no risk for you. That's why now is the perfect time to check out the website. As I said, the link is in the video description. Let's continue. For those still here, it's time for the familiar topic, my dating life. Surprisingly, I got a lot of questions about it and didn't expect so much interest. But I think because I recently made 1 or 2 videos with girls, that raised some questions, and I'm going to answer them now. So first of all, the answer is no, guys. If you watch the videos to the end, you know Sasha from the last video is married. Katya is also taken, we're friends. And yeah, like I said, if you watch the videos closely, then you know that too. Then, in this context, there's also the question, do you have a girlfriend? No, I don't have a girlfriend yet. Managing it would be tough. I'm in Paris for 3 months, then back to Germany, then traveling again, but I don't mind in principle. I do think that I have a lot of values that many Russian women also have, and that basically fits together well. And that's how I got into the whole Russia topic. My first girlfriend was from Siberia when I was 18, so that was already 7 years ago. But yeah, that's how I came into contact with the Russia topic, started learning Russian and so on. And then during my studies, my first girlfriend was a Russian German. Culturally, it was more German, so we rarely talked about Russia, but still, there was a certain connection and a shared interest. That means, in principle, there's nothing against it. Guys, of course, the question goes a bit further. Would I get married in Russia and live in Russia long term? Russia is a country I'm fascinated by and want to explore, but I don't necessarily want to live there. Yes, Russia has its downsides too. Yes, there are freedoms in Western countries that you don't have in Russia. That's why I think living in Russia would be hard for me. And especially the cold, yes. But yes, I already answered your question about living in Russia earlier. Probably not. Guys, honestly, I don't care about nationality, German or Russian, it just needs to be a good match. At the end of the day, I'm not picky about that. An OnlyFans account is never going to happen. I wonder who asked that, but it's not happening. Watching this video, I realize I really need a haircut. I can't keep going like this. That's crazy, and with all the wind, it looks really chaotic. Well, so next week you'll probably see me with a new haircut. A question that also came up a lot is, how tall are you actually? And yeah, guys, I'm 2.03 meters tall, around that, so pretty tall, and I wear size 48 shoes. You probably can't tell from the videos that I'm this tall, but that's the case. Maybe you can see it compared to other people in the background, although you can't really see it. But anyway, now I'll walk past a few people, maybe then you'll notice the height difference. For example, some people here are taking a photo. You can see my height difference with others there. You can kind of see it, I think. I don't want to just stand there and seem creepy. Yeah, so you can believe me, I'm definitely over 2 meters tall, guys. I'm now on the Champs-Élysées, the most expensive street in Paris with all the luxury stores. You can see it here, a huge Louis Vuitton store designed like a suitcase. And what street is better suited to talk about people and money than this one? And that's why I want to answer 2 more questions from you now. The first question is whether I ever thought I would get this far with my channel. That is, reaching 50,000 subscribers and now already over 5 million views. And I have to say, what does expected even mean? Well, I saw the potential. I saw the potential in Eastern Europe, in Russia, because I didn't know any big creator in Germany myself who reports on these topics, actually travels to these countries and shows them. And yeah, that's why I hoped for it. I also kind of expected it, but that it would actually go so well in the end, I could have only dreamed of that myself. So thanks to the support, guys. And who knows, in 2025 we might reach 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully that's my personal goal, and of course to just keep making cool videos for you guys. There's also the question, can you make a living from YouTube earnings? And I have to say, for a long time the channel cost more money than it paid out. Because I traveled a lot, I made expensive videos, and I didn't have any sponsorships and so on. That means during the first few months of monetization, I actually paid more than I received. Especially in November and December, the support is amazing. Some videos get views like channels with 1 million subscribers, so you can actually earn a living from YouTube. It's hard to give exact YouTube earnings since they fluctuate. Early in the year, it was a few €100, but by year's end, it reached a solid mid 4-digit amount. And yes, through the views, that means I could actually make a living from YouTube just from the views, thanks to your support, and I hope that I'll be able to realize even bigger and cooler projects in the future. And then of course there are also sponsorships, and those can really vary as well. But yeah, I didn't have any sponsors at all during the first 10 months of my YouTube years, and then in the last few months quite a few came along. Then you can earn a much better living from YouTube. Exactly, so that's really awesome. It's kind of a little dream that I can make a living from YouTube, especially with my student lifestyle anyway. And yeah, hopefully it keeps going like this, that I keep having your support and can do even bigger, better projects, invest even more money and so on. Let's see. Last and third question about success is, what are my goals for the year 2025? And yeah, guys, like I said, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube would be a goal that I definitely have in mind in the social media area. Then I would really like to finish my studio, but that should be easy to achieve. I'm almost done, just the master's thesis left basically, yeah. Other than that, keep learning Russian, work on bigger and better projects, and go on many new trips with you. So, no special goals to take with you. But yeah, I think that's already pretty good for a start. Today's video is kind of a 2-in-1 A Q&A, but also a vlog or a walk through Paris. Whenever I see something, I'll show you. Over by the Eiffel Tower, you can see a building that looks like a mosque, but it's actually the Russian Orthodox Center of Paris. And yeah, so that's the Russian center. It also reflects a bit of that architecture from Russia. But like I said, at first I thought it was a mosque, but no, that's actually the Russian center. What I find outrageous is that on Google Maps, they just erased and removed this building, so you can't really find it anymore. Do you see that? They just erased it like with an eraser because they don't want to represent this Russian center in Paris anymore, or whatever. But yeah, it probably has to do with the Russian-Ukrainian war. The one where the swimmers had to go into that dirty water at the Olympics. I have to admit, Paris definitely has its own flair, and it's always nice to be here. Here you can see the Russian Orthodox Center up close again. By the way, if you want to find out more about me, you can also watch my first Q&A. I recorded it about a year ago, and it was basically for the 1,000 subscriber special. I answered more questions there, in case there are still some questions left. I answered some other questions there as well. Of course, I'll link it for you in the video description or here with this I, either here or here. You can also click on this video now. Exactly, I touched on some more topics there, so guys, that was the little Q&A. I hope I answered all the questions. If you want to join the next Q&A, follow me on Instagram, because whenever I make a video like this, I announce it on Instagram and say, submit your questions here in the story, so to speak. That means if you follow me on Instagram, you can take part in videos like this. In general, you also get to see much more of my life because I post even more personal insights and stories there. Let yourself be part of the journey live. YouTube is always a bit delayed, so feel free to check out Instagram, I hope you enjoyed this.
ein bisschen über.
I hope you'll be there for the upcoming videos. Middle of the year. Hopefully also from Ukraine, from Belarus, and the other countries of the Soviet Union. We'll definitely see each other again over the coming weeks. I'll try to stay active, even in Paris. Until then, bye.